الله أكبر الله أكبر حي على الصلاة.
When we think of Muslims in India, it's often assumed that their history begins with the rise of the Ghaznavid Dynasty. What if I were to tell you that, contrary to this popular belief, the presence of Muslims in India predates this era and takes us to the southwestern coast of India, Kerala? Known for its rich cultural heritage and wide trading networks, Kerala unravels the beginnings of Muslims in India. The location of Kerala was a coastal gem that had a front row seat to the Arabian Sea. So, it naturally became the go-to place for international trade. These ports played a very important role in bringing together Arab traders from the Arabian Peninsula with the vast riches of the Indian subcontinent. When foreign traders arrived at Port Muziris near Chera Kingdom in Kerala, the kings used to treat them with respect and provided facilities for their settlement. These traders were like a bridge. They brought with them a variety of goods, as well as, of course, exchanged spices, exquisite textiles, and precious metals. For example, cinnamon. The spice that produced riches for Arab traders in the past could only be found at Arab ports by the Romans, because this trade was exclusive and loyal only to them. But more than just commerce, these ports also provided a space for the Arab merchants to engage in cultural exchanges with the locals. So as these Arab traders established trade routes and settled in Kerala, they not only brought goods, but also their faith, Islam. Naturally, over time, they began to share their beliefs with the local community, which led to the peaceful conversion of some native people to Islam. One very significant milestone here was the making of one of the oldest mosques in the world, the Cheraman Juma Masjid, which was built in 629 AD. Why is this mosque significant? It is believed to be the first mosque in India and was built by Cheraman Perumal, the king of Kerala at the time. Let's have a look at the mosque. The original Cheraman Juma Masjid did not feature any of the iconic stylistic elements associated with Islamic architecture that we know today. There were no minarets, domes, or any of the other visual signifiers of a classic Islamic design. Instead, this mosque was built as a double-storied building with a sloping tiled roof made from clay that was baked into a rich red color. So unlike the mosques from the other eras, these were built in the indigenous medieval Kerala architectural design, and many of the earliest traditional mosques in Kerala do not resemble mosques in other parts of the world. Now, other than the architecture, even the story behind the establishment of this mosque is quite interesting. It begins when the king, Cheraman Perumal, was walking on the balcony of his palace and noticed the moon separate into two and then rejoin. Confused by this, he went to astrologers who confirmed that such an event had indeed occurred. A few months later, the kingdom had a few Arab visitors on their way to Ceylon to whom the king asked about their pilgrimage and their faith and learned that the source of this miracle was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The king then decided to abdicate his throne and travel to visit the Prophet and return to spread the religion in his homeland. In Mecca, Perumal is said to have converted to Islam in the presence of the Prophet himself, making him one among the first subcontinental Muslims. But unfortunately, the king fell ill on the way back and died on the Omani coast. However, he did manage to write letters beforehand, instructing his relatives to accept the Persian scholar Malik ibn Dinar and his companions so that they may build a mosque and spread the new religion of Islam. This letter was honored, and Malik ibn Dinar and his companions went on to build several mosques, including the Cheraman Juma Masjid. King Perumal was first mentioned by Duarte Barbosa, a Portuguese traveler in the 16th century. Other scholars such as Sheikh Ahmad Zainuddin, a renowned Islamic jurisprudent, also gives us some highlights of these events in his work, Tuhfat al-Mujahideen. So although there might be different accounts of this same story, they are very much embedded in society. Once built, Cheraman Juma Masjid became a space not only for prayer, but also like other mosques, it was a place for traders and travelers who needed food and safe shelter. In fact, it was a space for local people of all faiths to socialize as well as learn about Islam. Today, this mosque is 1,400 years old, which makes it one of the first created mosques in the world. Now, you may ask yourself why this is important to know. What does it change? The essence of this account is that regardless of it being historical or legendary, the existence of this mosque falters the reasoning that Islam in India was spread through empires or forced conversions. Even the very architecture of the mosque is proof of how Islam merged into the cultural landscape of Kerala. Today, with the rapid rise of Hindutva in India, the religious identity of Muslims is being questioned, and their sense of belonging in the country is being undermined. So before we discuss how Muslims in India are being subjected to marginalization, or on what different accounts they are suffering in this series, we begin by ground clearing the misconceptions about the arrival of Muslims in India. The presence of Muslims in Kerala and other regions of India is very deep-rooted, and Islam is a religion that was peacefully and widely accepted by these people to the extent that their existence goes beyond the forming of many Arab states you know today. These empires have overshadowed the rich and diverse history of these people. Muslims in India belong to India. These stories of Muslims in India are not confined to a single epoch. They span centuries of interactions, cultural exchange, and coexistence. And today we learned how the history of the Indian Ocean carries this exact tale. So if we know now who these people were, how are they as a community, what are their stories, and what are their struggles? Join us for the next episode where we discuss how Muslims in India forged paths of resistance during colonialism and the fall of the caliphate.